Are you ready to become a really good stock market investor? Wait, what? You're not that kind of a person? You know what? We're going to change that right now. Today, I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can change your money identity so that you are someone who's really efficient on the stock market. Let's dive in. Let me begin with a little story. I was going through a portfolio with a client of mine, and we were looking at the different things he invested in. And one of the positions stood out. It was not something I thought was a really good idea to invest in. And I asked her, wait, what is that? And the other weird thing about it was a very small position. And she said, oh, that's an identity investment. And I asked her, what is an identity investment? She said, I made that investment in this particular company so that I could identify as someone who would invest that way. And you know what? I thought that was genius. So I started working with that. The concept of an identity investment. And what does it actually mean? It means you will make a particular investment, not because it's a great investment or it's a great company or you really believe in it, but because you want to change your identity. And maybe that sounds a little counterintuitive because we should invest in things that are great and have a long future, a prosperous future so that we become rich. But just a second, it doesn't have to be a very big investment. It's just an investment so that you know it's an option. It's something that you can actually do on the stock market. Let's dive into some specific investments that you could do just to change your identity. First of all, if you're a beginner and you've never invested on the stock market, you need to buy your first stock. And it can even just be one stock. And you can do that today. It's not very expensive. It's not very hard to open an account. It's not very hard to open an investment account, and you can start investing. You can do it in 5 minutes. And if you haven't done it yet, I would really kindly ask you to do that today. Sit down, allocate, just to be safe, an hour to get it done. And it might be that there's some processes, you need to send some identification and you have to wait a little bit, but get that done today. So that possibility is open for you. This is just about opening doors. We're opening some doors for you today. Okay, so the first identity investment is where you buy just one stock of anything. It doesn't actually matter what you're investing in, because all you're doing right now is changing your identity. That's the purpose of this investment. So isn't that great? After you've done that, I would really like you to celebrate it. And it doesn't matter if that stock goes up or down. It's not the purpose of it at all. You can sell it later. It doesn't matter. The purpose is that now you know you're actually a stock market investor. Isn't that fantastic? How are you going to celebrate that? Well, people have different ways of celebrating it. Some people, they like to drink champagne and cheer with someone that they love. For other people, it might be treating yourself for an extra nap in the afternoon, or for a run in the woods or on the beach. I live near the beach here. It doesn't matter how, but it's a little ritual that makes you acknowledge that you did something great for yourself today. And when we work with money, it's really important that we actually acknowledge this is fantastic, that we treat ourselves somehow, that we tell ourselves you did a good thing, even though it might feel very dangerous. Because I know for some people, it's like, oh my God, what will happen when I push this button? I'm not kidding. That is something that people go through. Okay, so first way of changing your identity by buying shares and whatever is just buying a share if you've never done it before. But it might be that you are already a stock market investor. But may I ask you to look at your portfolio? Because when I ask people what they invest in, I often see a pattern. They're investing in particular things. So it might be that you can invest in this kind of stock, but not the other one. For example, some people are only invested in one country. I'm from a very small country originally. I don't live there anymore. I'm from Denmark. That's a pretty tiny country. And you know what's so weird? A lot of people in Denmark, they only invest in Danish companies. I don't understand it either, but that's just how it is. If you're from another country, you might be from the US, well, exactly the same thing happens. A lot of Americans are only invested in American companies. Now, that is not as bad as being from Denmark and only investing in Danish companies, because there are a lot of great American companies. So you're probably safe, but I would like you to open the door anyway and invest in a company from another country. If you only invested in one region, one country, please today just buy one stock. And it doesn't matter if you're American, you're investing in Europe, or if you're European and investing in the US or in Japan or wherever, it doesn't matter. It's just changing your identity, it's opening that door again. Some people are only invested in one category. For example, a lot of people will only invest in funds like ETFs, exchange traded funds, because that's what they learn. This is the safest way to invest. And they don't consider the option of investing in an individual company on the stock exchange. I'd like you to change that. Just one share. Just so you know, it is actually possible for you. You can do that. That is now part of your identity. And again, like with the other ones, it doesn't really matter which and what. Just pick one and do it today. For those people who are investing in individual companies and no funds, some of them have a tendency to invest in very narrow fields. Again, I'm from Denmark. We have a lot of pharmaceutical and biotech companies, and I've met a lot of people who will only invest in pharmaceuticals and biotech companies. And that, my friend, that's just crazy. You have to broaden so you have other fields, other industries. So let's say that's the case for you, that you're only invested in biotech companies. It happens. I would like you to invest in a different area. It could be, for example, retail. I'm just picking something, but something that's quite different from the industry that you always pick. Go buy one share today, just so you know that that door is open. There's yet another way to change your identity by buying stocks. And that is where you place your stocks. For example, some people will only invest their retirement savings. They feel that investing outside using their hard-earned money is too risky. I would like you to open that door. Invest to an account that is not set up within the retirement system. And again, it could just be one share. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just opening the door. It could also be the other way, that you don't have the courage to invest your retirement because that's your future. That's very important, and you think it's too risky. I remember one time that I had a student, and he was a lawyer. He had his own law practice, and he was making quite a lot of profit. And he said, I will invest that money from the law firm, but I will not invest my retirement. I want professional people to do that. And I said, okay, that's fine. As he went through my course, he changed his mind. He realized how much money, because that's one of the exercises, is looking at what's your money actually invested in. So he realized he was paying quite a lot in fees in his retirement. And the way it was invested was in funds that he could pick himself. So he slowly started investing in something that was similar to the way it was already being handled by professionals. And he saved quite a lot of money in fees. And he told me, thank you very much. I have saved so much in fees that this course have paid itself many times over just with the fees that I'm saving. And he was so grateful that his mind was open to actually investing his retirement as well. Maybe that's possible for you. But of course, before you do that, you have to know what you're doing. And that's the perfect segue to the next point. To anyone starting investing or broadening their way of investing, walking through new doors that you just opened, I want you to get more knowledge. Accumulate as much knowledge as you can. Because I don't want you to walk out there in the traffic without knowing the traffic rules. It's really, really important that these new actions that you're taking, that you are pairing them up with knowledge of how it actually works. The traffic rules, you have to know the traffic rules. So what do? First of all, follow me here. Sign up for my ebook. Get my newsletter every week. And also read blog posts, read books, read newsletters, watch YouTube videos even, and listen to podcasts. Get as much knowledge as you can. Consider taking an investment course. You can get a lot of knowledge on the internet, but it might feel unstructured. You might be wasting a lot of time looking for the right kind of material. If you take an investment course, and yes, my friend, I have one for you, it's going to feel more structured. It will be a more efficient use of your time. You will get more information quicker. Next, you have to change also your mindset and the way your mind works. One way to do that is to actively working on your identity. Of course, we're already doing that with taking new actions, but you can also change the way you talk about yourself. So, for example, if you're someone who says, I'm not that good with numbers, change it. Say something new. Say, I'm learning to be good with numbers. I am actually good with numbers. If you're someone who says, I'm not that good with money, change it. Some people have this idea that your identity is like chiseled in stones, that you are who you are, but it's simply not true. You are who you decide to be. You are who you decide to be. It's a decision you've made at some point in your life. Maybe someone told you, maybe a teacher told you, you're not that good with money. You should work with something else. Well, that's just an opinion. You are who you decide to be. It's such an important concept, and I really hope you take it to heart right now. So decide to be someone who is good with money, who's good at managing money, who's good with numbers. You can say these sentences every day. I'm good at managing my money. I'm good at attracting money. I'm good at making money grow. And that's actually the next point, is a way of changing your mindset is actively saying these mantras. And I have a suggestion for a mantra for you. And that is, let it be easy. That's a sentence that comes to me as I'm working on this video. Let it be easy. What if it was easy for you to invest in the stock market? What if it was easy for you to learn more about investing in the stock market? The third way is changing the way you feel about money, about investing. And how do you do that? Well, it all links together. Doing it, saying these sentences, thinking differently about yourself, but also actively checking in and noticing, how does it feel right now? A lot of people feel some kind of tightening when they talk about money, almost like a feeling of anxiety or of fear. How do you feel right now? And you know what? It's not chiseled in stone either. You can change how you feel about money. How? Well, just change it. You can say, you can change your posture and say things like, yes, 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 when you talk about money, or even when you think about money. No one has to know that you're doing this. I remember being on a Tony Robbins event, and he used to make us say, yes. And I remember walking around the house saying, yes. And my kids were doing the same thing. They were like, okay, this is what we do here. Yes. And we were all like, yes. And that's pretty efficient as well. You know, it's about the posture, the way you move. It's about the words you say. And that alone can change how you feel. There's this concept of saying thank you to your money. There's this Japanese coach who talks about it, arigato, your money. And doing that is really helpful too when you spend money, when you think about money, when you talk about money, when you receive money. Say thank you. You don't have to say arigato. You don't even have to say thank you. You can even just think it or say yes, yes, yes. There's something so positive about saying yes. It is such a simple word. And even if you're around people just saying yes and smiling, it will change the way you feel. No one will notice. So those are the 3 steps. Doing something new, saying something new about yourself so you change your identity, and doing something with your body and your words that makes you feel different, feeling something new. I hope that was helpful. See you in the next video. We'll teach you even more.